Donovan, Terry, Kirk, and others. We're going to go to you in a few minutes with Bob Chapman for the rest of the hour, theinternationalforecaster.com. Finishing up my comment about the CPS trying to steal one of my employees' 8-year-old daughters for a tiny bruise down her leg, so they strip searched her, and that's confirmed. They demanded to have the meeting, so I got a lawyer for them. They had the meeting, and they said, if you raise your voice to your child, we're going to take your child. That is abuse. Of course, it's not against the law, neither spanking, but they don't care. Just like taking vaccines isn't against the law. Refusing them isn't against the law, but they'll take your kids. I mean, this is a rogue criminal group openly. And we have their booklet saying, if you raise your voice, we'll take your kids. But then integrate that into everything else. Have you noticed how first 15 years ago they said dodgeball scares children, we're banning it. And then we're banning recess, we're banning running, we're banning playing, we're banning hugging, we're banning high fives. Now they're banning shaking hands. Children in public schools are more imprisoned than prisoners in medium security prisons. Literally. I mean, right here in Austin, you don't shake hands, you don't high five, you don't run on the grass at recess. And instead of, if you start getting in a tussle when you're in 5th grade, they come arrest you, and your life is over. You are putting your children into a school that is like a shooting fish in a barrel. It's like a big hen house where the hens have had their legs cut off and their beaks chopped off, and it's run by weasels. Imagine it's a planet run by weasels, and they're breeding us beakless, legless chickens that can't defend ourselves. And the weasels are breeding, and there's more and more weasels having their way, and the weasels have TV screens telling the hens don't resist. Look, I'm no chicken, and I'm not going along with this anymore, folks. I'm going to tell you right now. The schools are there to turn your children against you. And I'm not exaggerating this. It's all over the news. They're training 7-year-olds to write dossiers on their parents, to be tattletales. They give them money and video games. The government is scum. Bob Chapman, they are turning our children into literal zombies. You got to take Ritalin and Prozac. You go to jail if you get in a fist fight. No running, no dodgeball, everything banned. Your parents raise your voice, you go to jail. Cameras in the school bathrooms. More and more, Bob Chapman, I realize everything is the fact that people are literally in a daze. They're under a spell. It's outrageous how bad things have gotten, Bob.
Well, I think it varies from place to place. My daughter's a teacher in Florida. And these sort of things are not going on in the school that she's at or the schools around where she is. But there are places it is going on, and obviously, you're reporting what's going on in Texas. There's another aspect to this which feeds upon this post-latent homosexuality, which is very rife among law enforcement and even military people. And you also have the displayed pedophilia that goes on among the Illuminati and other elitist types, such as our ex-presidents George Bush and Henry Kissinger. And recently we find out that the PM, the Prime Minister of England, is also a flamer, as they call him, and a aggressive pedophile, along with his buddy Mandy Mendelsohn, and the list goes on. And so it comes from the top and it sprinkles down like poison, and it allows these people with, as you described, with power to empower them to do these kind of things to children.
How do we stop the army of the pot-bellied pedophiles?
It's not easy. It's not easy, especially in a society where if you go to court and you bring action against them, you don't get anywhere because we have a two-tiered court system, particularly in the federal area where they're appointed, and they do what they're told. And so it's hard to get anywhere. I think it's not a very nice solution, but it's my belief that unless a couple of things happen here over the next year or so, it'll end up in the street anyway. And a couple of things are happy to report, and as you know, Alex, I've been doing a lot all over Fox and ABC and so on and so forth over the last 2 or 3 weeks on Ron Paul's bill to audit the Federal Reserve. And I'm happy to say there's 179 sponsors. And when I started this thing, and I'm not saying it's because I started doing this, but
it's all of us together, yeah.
Yeah, there were 120, and now we got 17 in it. Looks
hey,
like Bill,
I said 120 last week. It's up to 100 and what?
79. It's on his site.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get the audit of the Fed if they don't set a nuke off and claim that a cave dweller did it, because the pot-bellied pedophiles will not turn loose of power easily. They will throw fits and stage attacks to make everybody cozy up to the pot-bellied pedophiles. From the front lines of the war against the pot-bellied pedophile New World Order, we'll be right back. Take calls for Bob Chapman on the economy and any other subject. Coming up in the next segment, 800-259-9231. Get you up and on air today. All right, Bob, and not digressing off into the type of people the globalists hire. This happened in Nazi Germany, Russia, everywhere. It's always sickos. You know, sadistic sadists, pedophiles, people that serve evil. What about the economy? I mean, it's all over the news, kind of making us passé, what we were talking about many years ago, about dumping the dollar. GM's supposed to go bankrupt next month. Chrysler's already gone bankrupt. Massive job layoffs accelerating. And they have this overlay of news about how the economy is getting better. What do you really see happening? And on top of that, gold has exploded, as you know, up to $960.
Well, everybody that's talking about the economy that's on CNBC and the major media networks, they're all lying. But they've all been lying for 22 months, so they're consistent. Yes, they're forcing General Motors into bankruptcy so they can spin off the good stuff, sell some of the good stuff, and put it to rest, if you may. And
by the way, they admit that. That's in the AP today, that the government is making them go bankrupt.
That's right. And it's not the place of government to do that. But when you're in a fascist society, that's what happens. And so they're going to continue to produce in China and Brazil and probably other places under their new moniker, so to speak.
Oh, I want to back you up. There's no probably. They've said that GM will now be Chinese cars. So we're paying to have them move to China and Brazil.
Well, it's interesting. I wrote about that 4 years ago. And I said that in 2010, the first 300,000 cars would be manufactured by GM to be shipped into the United States. And that's exactly what's going to happen. And that they would, once they went out of business, that they would produce in Brazil and in China. And so that's what's happened. You know, you and I are way ahead of the curve all the time anyway. As far as gold exploding, technically, it's in a reverse head and shoulders as well as the HUI, which is an index of stocks which are unhedged. Sometimes gold and silver mining companies and others will sell production forward for two reasons. Number one, to get cash or to get a loan made or to rig the market. In the case of Barrick Gold, they're rigging the market. And I've complained about that since 1992, but very few people have listened. The HUI is also in a reverse head and shoulders, just like silver and gold. They're all ready to break out. They're right on the cusp right now. And the only thing that can stop it from happening would be massive intervention by the United States government, because the buying is very, very heavy. And so sooner or later, this thing's got to break out over 1,000. We'll use gold as a guideline. And I'll tell you, if you're not in, this is your last chance, because once this thing breaks up over 1,000, it's going to fly. The professionals are starting to come in, as I forecast that they would. They're coming in a big way. There's one mutual fund hedge fund, that has almost 1/3 of all their assets in gold and silver related assets now, and it's the best performing hedge fund. It's called Paulson. Anyway,
yeah, Bob, let me toot your horn for you. You said about a month ago here on the show, when gold was down, you said you expected in the next month and a half that it would test 960. I remember that. And here we are. How high do you think it's going to go before they play games? Or what you said last week, are the central banks almost sold out of their gold that they've been using to manipulate the price downward? And as the Chinese and others, the Arabs, demanding their gold out of the central banks, is that causing a crisis here?